So Jane from Jane's Allotment asked me to do a video about potential Christmas presents, and it's not the sort of thing I normally do, but I've got a whole setup here to support that video, and I only had 2 minutes to talk and I ran out of time, so I thought I would just do my own video as well and cover all the things that I was going to talk about on Jane's, but 2 minutes wasn't enough. So I'll start with this. So this is my recommendation for a cheap and cheerful Christmas present. It's really great. Of course, it's a Propagator, and it's the simplest Propagator you can buy. It doesn't have any thermometers, it doesn't have any thermostat, so all it does is add roughly 10 degrees centigrade to the temperature of the soil, really, and that is great if you're germinating in the house. I do all my germinating in the house at this time of year, and so I would put this on the floor in a bedroom, or on a north-facing windowsill or something like that. It doesn't have to be a windowsill. The objective is a nice stable temperature. So you could imagine at this time of year that temperature might be between 15 and 18 degrees centigrade. So 15 and 20 degrees centigrade. And so this would add 10. So that would be 25 to 30 degrees, which is kind of perfect for anything like peppers, tomatoes, cucumbers, and all of those sorts of things. If you had to have this in a sunny place, for example, the conservatory that I'm in at the moment, I would have it on a timer. And the timer that I like is a timer plug from Meros. And the ones that I buy, actually they send them to me for free, so it's an easy choice. But the ones that I use have got a timer function, and they monitor the electricity usage, which is actually quite interesting to make sure that you're not spending more on electricity than the value of the harvests. And I found, generally speaking, that growlights and propagators and things like that, they don't really use a huge amount of electricity by comparison with the harvest value. And I've got a section in my book where I go into the details of that calculation if you're interested in that. So that is the basic thing. So I do all of my germinating with a simple propagator like this, nothing fancy. Let me just show you what they come with. So they come with a lid like this and a tray like this. I don't use these trays, but in theory this is what you would get if you bought one. So I would recommend you don't bother really with this, because you don't really need it. You can just get a simple cover from Wilco or something like that. Oh, phones. Okay, we're back. So that's the start point. Now, what do I like to use with this? I like to use these trays, and I think these make a great present as well. I have loads of these, like 50 of them or something like that, and I've got them in 3 different sizes. So that's the 9 cell. We use these for all sorts of different things. So I really like to start brassicas, for example, prick them out and grow them in there. And I got the 12 cell, and I might use those for main crop onions. I probably have like 3 or 4 in each cell. And I use a big tray like this for onions because they're going to be in them for about 2 months. And you can see they fit really nicely in here. And I got a 6 cell here. And so these I might use for peppers, prick my peppers out into these, tomatoes, and some brassicas that are going to be in them for about 2 months. So they're the trays that I use, and I love them. They last for ages. I've reused these year after year after year, even though they're really flimsy plastic. They're just great, and they're super smooth inside, and as a result of that, things just slide out of them really great. So I also like to use them for germination of seedlings, and then prick them out from here into the bigger cells. I really just like doing it like this. It just keeps them separate. I know what's going on, not muddling things up. And this is a germination trial. So at this time of year, I really like doing germination trials. And if something grows successfully, like for example those Calabrese and those winter density lettuces, then I will probably grow those on. And when I grow most things on, I'm growing them in a tray like this. So this is a 40 cell tray from Wilko, and I've got some here. And I really like these, so I think these are 3 or 4 for £1, something like that, so that's really great. And again, I use these again and again and again. I probably get 3 uses out of them, so they're about 10 pence perhaps for each use. So most of what I do in a 40 cell tray like this, either sow direct or I prick out into these cells, and those lettuces. And so I'll do things like salad onions, and I'll also do main crop onions in these cells, the ones that I'm sowing in February. So the ones I'm sowing in January, which are going to be in trays for a long time, I'll do in a 12 cell, just to give them a bit more compost and food to go at. But the ones that I'm doing in February, that are only going to be in there for about 6 weeks, say, then I'll do those in that sort of tray. As I say, salad onions I'll do in these sort of trays, spinach in these sorts of trays. So I really like those trays, and I get the bases, these bases from Wilko as well, and I really recommend those. So I'm really taffled up with all these wires and things now. So I am back and untaffled. So there's an example of brassicas in a 12 cell tray, and those will be potted on and planted out sort of probably March time, I should think. And those are beetroot, again in a 12 cell tray, and they won't get potted on. They'll be happy in there until they're planted out in probably, I'm guessing, February now, something like that. Although they'll be pretty big by then, so maybe middle of January. And they will go under cover in the polytunnel for early baby beets. So I think those are my recommendations for potential Christmas presents. And I do think it's really great to have a really nice big collection of trays, because then you sow a lot of seeds, and if you sow a lot of seeds, you grow a lot of food. I frequently on my plans, and I do quite a bit of planning, I don't include lots of things. I don't include lots of onions and so main crop onions and salad onions and turnips and radishes and all sorts of different things like that. I just sow them. I just sow 2 trays of salad onions a month, for example, and 2 trays of radishes and turnips a month and all of that. And I just interplant them wherever I can see a gap. And so I think it's important not to kind of over plan, and just to grow what you want to eat, and then just find a place to put it, and just be creative with trying to find places. So for example, these beetroot will probably be interplanted with salad onions, for example. So I did just find one of these plugs that I was talking about, and I have all sorts of stuff on these plugs. I love them, and they're nicely integrated with like smart speakers and things like that, so you can do things like Alexa, turn off the sun. Alexa, turn off the sun. It works sometimes. Alexa, turn on the sun. So I use that for my grow lights. As I say, I use these as timers for all sorts of different things, and they're really useful when you've got varying schedules, and when you, for example, you might, like I've got these grow lights on now for these lettuces and beetroots and things like that, and when the sun comes out, I don't want them on. And so when I'm out and about, might be on the allotment or something like that, I can just open the app up on my phone and just switch them off. So it means I don't have the added extra sort of complexity of having temperature monitoring and all that sort of integration. I can just, from wherever I am, I can just respond to the weather conditions and switch things on and off. I can look at the temperature, because I've got some Bluetooth thermometers and things. I can look at the temperature, say in the garage, and if it's really cold, then I can switch the heater on, things like that, so remotely. So I really like that sort of thing. So yeah, these are great, and I highly recommend them. They've got a sort of bypass switch here, so you can switch them on and off manually. But as I say, there's a great app and also smart speaker integration. So yeah, another great Christmas present. So if you've got a bigger budget, I do think it's quite a lot of fun to grow with lights, and it certainly makes my life a lot easier. I've done pretty much everything that I do now without grow lights, and just growing things more slowly in a polytunnel or an unheated greenhouse. But growing with lights is just so convenient because I can do it all at home. I don't have to keep making trips to the allotment. I don't have to worry about opening and closing and fleecing and all of that sort of thing. And things grow fast. And when things grow fast, it means that if you get any things that don't work out the way you plan, you can kind of recover really quickly. So if you lost, for example, a tray of seedlings, then you can have a new tray of, say, lettuces or spinach within 3 weeks. So I think it's just really convenient. So my favourite lights at the moment are the ones from Marshydro. And I gotta say, this one was gifted to me just recently actually, and I really like it. So this is the TS1000, and I like it because it's got a dimmer, which is great. The early ones that I've got don't have dimmers, and it's got an on-off switch, which is, you wouldn't think that that would be worthy of mention, but a lot of these grow lights, they don't have an on-off switch, which again is just really nice and convenient. Light levels are really good. I've got these on at 75 at the moment, but obviously you could go higher. I don't think they need it right now. They're looking pretty healthy. So I'm quite happy with those. I've got a bigger one here, nice and long. And this one is, again, it's a 250 from Marshydro. And I like this one because it kind of gives a lot of light in this area here and here as well. And that allows me to grow like really early potatoes and tomatoes and things like that there. And actually I get a lot of spillover light down here, which I use for all sorts of things as well. So I get quite a big kind of grower environment in this conservatory, kind of about that much area on the floor as well. So yeah, you need a big budget though. But as I said, I have worked out all the costings and the business case kind of thing for growing with lights. I mean, I'd probably do it anyway just because it's a lot of fun. Yeah, if you kind of need to make the financial case, then as I said, I've done that, and I'll just show you that now. So if you want to know more about the topics that I've just covered in this video, go to my book, which is linked in the description. It is free for everybody, although donations are welcome, and the details of how to donate are in the description below. So go to the basics section and start off with, say, sowing, and here I cover all of the different things that I just talked about, including the compost that I use, the planning tools I use, where I get my seeds from, all the seed sowing equipment, all the seedling trays, pricking out, all that sort of thing, all those things that you've just seen, links to all of those and where to buy them, etc. And loads more videos. And if we just go back and we'll go to the growing with light section. So again, I kind of go through balancing heat and light, which is kind of the key thing you're trying to achieve. Grow lights really help you kind of vary that light part of the equation, and propagators and growing in the house helps you control the heat element of that equation. Getting them in balance is the key thing to do. There's more videos about that as well that you can read here. And here's a little business case, and basically it works out that the cost of grow lights is about 5% for me of the cost of the value of the harvest. So I think it's a good deal. And of course I'm only really using grow lights for a very small proportion of the things that I grow anyway. Anyway, more about hardening off and growing, special considerations about growing with peppers and things like that. And loads more stuff in the basics section, you know, stuff on bed prep, hardening off, planting, the life cycle of plants, looking after the soil, dealing with pests and weeds and all of those sorts of things. You might have noticed that I've got some yellow sticky pads up in the conservatory. I haven't got any pests at the moment, but those are like a really great way of noticing any early problems with like the odd green fly or something like that and just getting rid of them straight away. And there's loads more in the book, so if you want more details about being self-sufficient, all year-round growing guides, individual growing guides, loads and loads and loads of stuff. It's all pretty comprehensive and gets better every month. So, hope you like this quick video. My name's Steve, this is the Seaside Kitchen Garden and Allotment channel, and I'll see you soon.